Asterisk, asterisk, 10 days, asterisk, asterisk. That's the window Iran was given. 10 days before 2 nuclear-powered supercarriers, hundreds of cruise missiles and 800 combat missions per day receive their orders. The largest strike force in the Middle East since 2003 is already in position. The targeting packages are locked. The coordinates are set. But here's what no one is telling you. This exact moment, these exact nations were described 600 years ago. And the prophet who wrote it named them by name. Let me show you what's actually happening, piece by piece. Then I'll show you what was written about it before any of this existed. Start with the southern anchor, the USS Abraham Lincoln, a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. Over 1,000 feet long, powered by 2 nuclear reactors that never need refueling. This ship can stay at sea for 20 years without returning to port. But the Lincoln doesn't travel alone. Surrounding it is what the Navy calls a carrier strike group. Think of it as a floating city of war moving across the ocean. Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers, cruisers packed with radar systems, and somewhere beneath the surface at least 2 attack submarines. Iran cannot see them. Iran cannot track them, but they're there. Now here's the part that matters. These ships carry hundreds of Tomahawk cruise missiles. Long range, precision guided. They can hit targets deep inside Iran from hundreds of miles away, before a single jet takes off, before a single soldier crosses a border. That's just the missiles. The Lincoln's flight deck holds an air wing of advanced fighter jets. F-35C, Lightning stealth fighters, the most advanced combat aircraft in the American arsenal, designed to slip past air defenses without being detected. And F/A-18 Super Hornets, multi-role strike fighters built for ground attack and air-to-air combat. One ship. More firepower than most nations can field with their entire military. Then came the signal. After the first round of talks in Oman ended, 2 of Trump's senior envoys boarded a helicopter. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. They flew to the Lincoln. They stood on the flight deck, strike aircraft behind them, missiles beneath them, Iran within range. And they were photographed there, intentionally, for the world to see. That wasn't diplomacy. That was a message delivered without words. But the Lincoln is only the first piece. Because what started moving next makes the Lincoln look like a warm-up. A ship so advanced, so expensive, so powerful nothing else on Earth can match it. The USS Gerald R. Ford. This is not an upgraded version of an older ship. This is a completely new class of warship. The first of its kind, a generational leap in naval warfare that took decades to design, cost to build, over $13 billion for one ship. Here's why. The Ford displaces over 100,000 tons of water. It carries more than 600 crew members. It runs on nuclear power, which means it never stops to refuel. Like the Lincoln, it can operate at sea for over 20 years without returning to port. But the ship itself is not the weapon. What it carries is. Let me walk you through what's sitting on that flight deck right now. F/A-18E Super Hornets, strike fighters built for precision ground attack and air-to-air combat. These jets can hit targets on the ground, then turn around and dominate the sky. F-35C Lightning stealth fighters, the carrier variant of the most advanced combat aircraft on Earth. These jets can fly into the most heavily defended airspace in the world without being detected. They penetrate. They strike. They vanish. E-18G Growlers. Electronic warfare aircraft. These don't drop bomb. They do something more dangerous. They jam enemy radar. They blind communication systems. They create corridors of silence, paths where strike packages can pass through without ever being seen. E-2D Hawkeyes. Airborne early warning aircraft. Giant radar dishes flying at 25,000 feet. They see everything within hundreds of miles. They feed real-time targeting data to every ship, every submarine, every jet in the strike group. MH-60 Seahawk helicopters. For anti-submarine warfare. For search and rescue. For moving people and equipment across the battle space. That's one ship. One floating airfield. The crew has been at sea for months. They're experienced. They're battle-tested. This is not a carrier working out problems on its first deployment. This is a combat-ready strike group that has been operating under real-world conditions for the better part of a year. Around February 12th, the Ford changed direction. It was redirected toward the Middle East. No announcement. No press conference. Just a quiet turn toward the Persian Gulf. Now put both carriers on the same map. The Lincoln in the Arabian Sea. The Ford moving through the Mediterranean. Destroyers in the Red Sea. Submarines beneath the surface. 800 potential combat sorties per day. The word isn't buildup, it's encirclement. But the carriers are only part of the picture. Because what's been deployed on land across more than 20 American bases changes this from a show of force into something else entirely. The news showed you pieces. A carrier here, a destroyer there. A squadron of jets moved to a base in Spain, but no one assembled them on the same map. Let me do that now. Start with the carriers. The Lincoln in the Arabian Sea. The Ford pushing through the Mediterranean toward the Red Sea. Together, they can generate 800 combat sorties per day. That's 800 missions every 24 hours, for as long as needed. Now add the destroyers. Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers spread across 3 bodies of water. The Mediterranean, the Red Sea, the Persian Gulf, each one loaded with Tomahawk cruise missiles. Long-range, precision-guided, capable of striking targets deep inside Iran from hundreds of miles away. Now add the submarine. At least 4 attack submarines operating beneath the surface. Invisible. Iran cannot see them. Iran cannot track them. But they're there, waiting. Now add the air bases. Over 120 warplanes have been surged to 8 regional air bases. Fighter jets in Qatar. Bombers in Diego Garcia. Refueling tankers positioned across the Gulf states. A web of air power stretched across the entire region. Now add the defenses. THAAD missile batteries, Patriot systems, deployed across approximately 20